Everyone pretend podcasting isn't boring.
Welcome to Juan Around the Podcast. Today we go around the talk with Philipp Konrad, who has a master's degree in education for children with special needs, and it is a teacher in Switzerland. We talk about Albania as a tourist place, the image of the Balkans and facing your fears, being uncomfortable and being alive, fear as your life guidance, historical misconceptions, what success means, the academic advantage of a good grade, comparing yourself against others, knowing yourself, money, security and freedom, and money versus time, and many other topics. I hope you like the episode. But first remember, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. It is free, has everything you need to record and edit audio using your smartphone or computer. You can even make money through ads. With one click, your content goes to Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and many other platforms. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm. That is ANCHOR.FM and start today. Now, let's turn around to our chat. After so many times trying to plan how we're going to have this conversation or interview, it's finally done in a very rainy day in Albania. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. Actually, I'm cold a little bit. I really expected something else from Albania. When I came here, now it's already like 2 weeks ago when I arrived in Albania, and I expected kind of spring weather. As you know, I'm from Switzerland, so it's really winter. And but it's okay. I met guys like you, and that makes me feel good. Yeah. So I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because I have even family telling me, "What the fuck is Albania? Where is it?" Like, I have no idea what this place is. And you need to show them. And their flag is very cool. I really like their flag. The Albania flag.
I love it, yeah.
It's really imposing. Yeah. But other than that, I didn't know anything about it until I came. And it's small, but it's nice. Too bad that the weather is so bad these days. But I think it's a nice place. Why did you pick up?
As you said, actually, it's the same situation for me. I didn't know anything about Albania before. And also, it's not really popular to go to holidays for Swiss people, or especially people around me in my bubble. It's not really common to go to Albania, or it wasn't. So being in a place which is also for you, you don't know nothing about it. When I've been here last year, my first time, it was so exciting to, also shocking a little bit that I had no plan about Albania. It was...
how did you go? Because you decide to make a trip by bicycle, right? That's what happened around the Balkans.
Exactly, last year, yeah.
And then you found out about Albania on the go, or before you did your research and okay, there is a place called Albania, or...
No, that's strong. It wasn't that strong. It's I knew about Albania because before I was working as a teacher in Switzerland, and I had a lot of kids with migration backgrounds from Albania, or especially from Kosovo. Really? I knew that Albania exists. But it wasn't like that I knew about the history, for example. About all this communism background, I had no clue about that. But I knew Albania. I knew that Albania exists.
Now, why you decide to do this trip through the Balkans by bicycle?
Hey, actually, it's a long story. I try to make it a little bit shorter than that. It doesn't need 2 or 3 hours. Actually, I finished 3 years ago my master studies for a teacher for kids with special needs. Okay. And then before I was working in a private school for actually outsourced kids on the meaning they had no more place in a public school, so they needed something different because of their behavior or handicaps. Oh, okay. And after my studies, I had a lot of ideas about public school, what should be better, I had a lot of visions. And I decided, no, I want to go back to public school to see what's really going about, what's going on there, to understand. So I told myself, okay, I give me 3 years. I had 3 different jobs in these 3 years. Every school year another position also, another function also. And I wanted to learn about that. And I already said in the beginning, I will take max 3 years. And after 3 years, I will make a break. Anyways, just also to protect myself. I'm the type of guy that I feel good to be in the comfort zone. Yeah. And when I do something I like, when people react in a positive way, means like saying, yeah, Philipp, you're doing good, or you do your job good, and stuff like that. So I wanted to protect also myself, that I'm not going into something and stuck in it just because it feels good. Okay. So I decided after 3 years, and then after these 3 years, it was kind of clear, okay, now I stop. Now what I'm going to do in this year, which I want to make a break. And I was already a long time thinking about doing kind of travel walking, like this, how you say that in English, this Jacob way, like this way from wherever in Europe to Santiago de Compostela,
like this
for example, something like that, or just walking from A to B. And I have a few really good friends which did like this kind of bicycle trips. But I'm not this bicycle type. I was bicycling to my work, and I use my bicycle in my town where I live. But so I was thinking about, shall I go per feet or with bicycle? And then I realized, when I go with my bicycle, I was scared that somebody will steal my bicycle. Because when you have just your backpack and you walk, you have not a lot of things which can be stolen. So on that level, I realized that I'm kind of a scared person also. I have a lot of fears actually. And because of that, I decided, no, I go extra. I go with my bicycle just to push me out, way more out of my comfort zone. And especially in the last year where I was working in this small village next to my town where I live, like 70% had like migration backgrounds from the Balkans, especially from Kosovo. So they're very ethnic Albanians. So, and I had also, like back in the 90s, when I was in my teenage years, there was this migration wave during the war also, or after the war from the Balkans. So I had a few also like kind of bad stories with the topic Balkans. So I decided, okay, I go by bike and I want to see the Balkans. I want to meet these people. I want to try at least to understand a little bit where these people are coming from, what is about that, because the picture or the narrative about the Balkan is, in general, not that good in Switzerland. That was the reason why I went to this trip last year for these 3 months.
I think that's great. Like I did that. I was very afraid of height. And for me, being afraid of height was like, okay, instead of like trying to be in the ground all the time, for me it was like I need to push myself to conquer that fear. And I did like a lot of I did bungee jumping and skydiving and rock climbing. I mean, still when I go in a very high place, I can feel like my hands start to get sweaty. But it's kind of like, just overcome it and, try to be strong about it. But I think that's one of the best things, to just try to push yourself to those limits, because at the end of the day, those limits are the ones that define you, right? Like how you push your limits.
It's a funny thing actually about that. It was really I realized that it's the same what you told me now. It's like it's something really special when you feel these fears and also accept it, that it's like that. but you don't hide yourself from them, and you going really into confrontation. And then I found myself often like that I had this several different voices in my head, which saying, Philip, what are you doing now here? You could stay at home now, easily in your room, hanging around with your friend, and now you are on the street somewhere in the hillbillies in the Balkans, and maybe I had something went wrong with my bicycle, whatever. I was thinking about why I'm doing that. On the other hand, I had this voice like, that's so fucking alive. Now I'm here, and I'm doing that. And that's such a great thing.
Isn't that weird? Like how, like, being in those situations that are clearly uncomfortable make you feel alive. It's very weird. Like we live in these societies that kind of coddle us and make us feel like, like you have literally everything. Like you can call and you can get everything, and somebody will bring it to you, like literally, particularly after the COVID thing, like all these systems. But going there and feeling the rain and feeling like these kind of problems are kind of like, it kind of make you feel more human, like, I don't know, like more alive. I remember I was in Turkey and it was like super dark and there was no people. I was hitchhiking, nobody was taking me in, and I was talking with in that point was my girlfriend from Poland, and we were talking and we were like, even in this situation I feel super happy, man. It's just so great, like I feel so happy. And she was like, like that's living, that's actually living, because there are so people complaining about so much stupid shit, like so much, like not important. And you being like in the dark, alone, maybe I will not find a place, I will have to stay all night, wake up, and you are happy. That's the shit. Like that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a, and I think it's really individually. Like I just have to reflect all the time, like, and try to kind of, maybe it sounds weird, but kind of try to understand myself or try to feel myself, because I think that's something which on a certain point in my life I lost it a little bit. Especially what I said before, I wanted to protect myself, to be in this tunnel, in this way of everybody says, I'm doing good and everything is all right. But to feel it, and then the thing with the fear, it's like I'm socialized that fear is something bad. But now I'm at that point that fear is also really nice guidance. I feel like, I feel uncomfortable, and then at the moment in my life, I'm kind of attracted to, I feel something which scares me, and then I want to understand it. And it's the easiest way, I think, to understand it is just dive into it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was listening to, like, because every place that I go, I try to like read about it or something. So anyway, I was listening to a lecture about the East Europe, and they were saying that apparently this visualization that we have about the East Europe that is like more savage or something like that, it came about Poland. Like Poland was like so strong. Poland and Lithuania, they were so strong that a lot of people start to kind of talk shit about them, and they start to say like they were savages and stuff like that. And apparently it stuck, and all this part became like, okay, those are savages, those they don't have a culture or the education. It's very weird. Like that lecture was very interesting. They were saying, for example, when you say barbaric, somebody is like barbaric. I didn't know that Greeks invent that word, and they invented to the people that that don't speak Greek, and they invent that word for people that don't speak Greek because they only hear bar. So for them, that's the name is coming from that.
Story. All right.
It's so fucked up. Yeah. So it's coming from, okay, I just hear bar. They are barbarics. It's the people that don't speak Greek, and for me, I just hear bar. It's so crazy. Or for example, here in the Balkans, I didn't know that Balkans come from from Turkish, and it comes from the word mountain. So for them, from the Ottoman Empire, it was like, we are going to visit the people in the mountain, the Balkans.
Yeah, okay.
It was so good, and you start to understand, like, okay, so like these things, that cliches or this stuff, they're coming sometimes from such a weird thing, like the Greeks, like, just because somebody says barbaric from barbar, and then now we use barbaric as somebody that doesn't have, like knowledge or education or whatever. It's just crazy. But I believe what you're saying. I think you should just dive into the things that you don't know and try to understand them.
Yeah. I think it's also all about learning. As I said before, I'm really into education. I'm really into public school and stuff. And I realized, especially in the last 3 years, that what we tell the kids, it's you don't learn that for school, you learn it for life.
Yeah.
And learning is lifelong.
Yeah.
And these are just phrases for the most of the people, even for teachers. Okay. And then you have to think about, okay, what does that mean, learning? Is it about learning like vocables or words in another language, or what does that mean, learning?
Yes.
And I think in learning you just need this kind of guidance, or you have to be like, you have to find a motivation, or you have to find that motivation. What do you want to learn?
Yes.
And especially now these things about other cultures, for example, but also find your own borders. That's a really interesting thing. So
what do you think about like people, for example, like Elon Musk, that says, like having a degree is just irrelevant for me, like it's meaningless. Like, do you think that we are approaching like the end of education as we know it? Like, because we live in a world where you can check everything in internet, and if you are good at researching on internet, you can find actually good ways to learn. Do you think that the educational system is actually like up to date, or we need to do something to make it up to date?
Hey, I think it's not only an educational thing, it's also like a society thing, that we have to understand that what also people say, we all humankind have the same value, but they're all different. You are different to me.
Yeah, of course.
But we have the same values, or this. Yeah, I think I can say that like that. The values, and what with all this diploma stuff, it's really like that's the values of society. And so, if we really can put our efforts into that to empower people around us, also empower ourselves, and believe in our potential, whatever we believe in the end about God or the sense of life or whatever. I don't want to talk about that actually, but to say like every human being has something special. So we have to push that. And then it comes back to the education system, that it's kids should learn. They should, how do you say that in English? They should increase their potential. They should be excited about what's happening around them or happening with them, and we have to empower them to find their own ways. And to change all these things now, especially about this diploma and papers and stuff, it's like it needs courage for leaders to say, I see you, I see your potential, and I believe in your potential. I believe that you find your way, and I will push you to go forward, but I will not push you into a frame or into a picture which I think is good. But that's kind of a really hard process for people which are already socialized in this system.
Yes.
So for a leader who wants to say, just take the example for school. For example, I see you how you act with. I just make an example. How you act with kids, how you talk with them, how you manage what they are doing and stuff. And I want to say, I want you to work in my school because I see, wow, you have the way how to do it. But it needs a lot of courage to give you a job if you don't have a diploma.
Yes.
Because it's kind of a security, and that's the same thing. Maybe we're talking about the same thing with Elon Musk. Maybe he has also the power and the security net that he also, and maybe also another kind of business which you can just say, hey, you have potential. I want you that you work for me in my projects.
Yeah.
And I think that's always the same thing. Like back in the 19th century, I think it was a story about in the German region, it was like Humboldt, it called. He was able to create a new educational system. And he did that, and he was really avant-garde. He was really progressive.
Okay.
But then, in the end, he said it's impossible to realize that because the teachers, because they are already socialized. So it wouldn't be a problem if we start at point zero. But to change things, it's really hard. That's what I also realized in the last 3 years. The biggest problem is not the government. If we are talking about changing in the educational system, it's not the government or like the super leaders. They have also like possibilities to change things, but the most potential is on the level of teachers. But they are afraid to do things differently or really listening to their hearts. Because when you're working with kids and you have your heart in the right place, you feel that's, even in Switzerland, something sometimes is going really wrong. You know what I mean?
Okay. What do you think is going wrong in your country? Like, because we can see in other countries that it's clear, like it's very clear. But when we talk, for example, the Scandinavian countries, and we talk, like, we really frame them as the model of perfection.
Yeah.
But I've been meeting people from other countries, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of not like perfect. What do you think we should change in your model?
Yeah. On one part, I want to say a lot of things are really great in Switzerland.
Yeah.
And also on the level of education.
Okay.
I think there are a lot of, especially when I was talking about the teachers, I met a lot of really hilarious persons, which really like wholehearted and wow, really inspiring. But the point is really like that we're having these standards, we're having like these pictures of what success means and how you can be successful, and that we have also, I often make this picture with the Ferrari. Everyone wants the Ferrari, and everyone should be able to reach the Ferrari.
Yeah.
But that's the point, that some human beings will be not able to, I don't know, to write a book, for example, or to explore other things. So we are different. Yeah. And on that point, I think what could be the next steps for Switzerland? It's really like just to say we stop with this norm thing, this normalization.
Like a standardization.
Standardization, and we just make a little bit more connection also to science. Yeah. Because, for example, like actually, it's a guy from the town where I live. He died like 2 or 3 years ago, but he did a lot of researches how. Especially also the neurobiology is working for kids, and with also how they are in which stadium and which age they are able to start or to find the motivation to learn to read or learn to write. Okay. And he really could prove with a lot of studies that there are kids. It depends of different things, of course. That there are kids which want to learn to read with the age of 4, and there are kids which are able to start with that with 10 years.
Yeah.
And everything is all right with that.
Yeah.
They are just different.
Yeah.
So what we are doing in Switzerland, with the age of 7, they're coming into first grade, and all of them have to learn to read. And some of them already can read, and others aren't ready. So that's the same thing. We have to believe in the potential and in this special way of how every human being is.
Yeah.
So the work should be more like to have this confidence that they will find the right way, these kids, and we can give them guidance. I don't want to say that there were also like these pedagogic waves back in the 70s, especially. We call it in French like laissez-faire, like just let them do whatever they want. I don't talk about that. I don't believe in that. I really believe that kids, to survive in our society, they need guidance in a certain way. But like the nice way of a teacher should be just to make an example. For example, the boy, let's call him John. He's really into football, and over this way, maybe I will be able to guide him into, hey, yeah, now your friends, also your football friends, now they are reading like books about football, and they can learn a lot. Do you want to learn to read? It's like a really stereotype example now, but like that, just to find out what is your potential and how can I guide you, how can I push you, and how can I help you to reach what you really want, because, and that's my picture of human beings. I really believe that human beings want to learn.
Yeah.
They want to improve in their things where they are strong, and also in these ways how they can belong and be part of society. But I think that's my belief in the picture of human beings. I think that could be different. I'm okay with that if somebody is thinking in another way. But I think in a lot of discussions, it's important to frame this picture, because I believe in that, and on this base, I create everything what I think should be done.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if there is like an age limit. I remember, maybe you heard about this case. Well, there have been many cases about it, but one very sound case about this. There was like this scientist. This is real. It's not. It will sound like conspiracy theory, but it's real. It has been researched. There was this researcher that he really treated his daughter like in a very bad way. Like, she never talked with anybody at all. And then, of course, it was like child abuse. He kept her like in a chair. It was like, it's very sound. Like he was trying to do like some sort of experiment or something. But anyway, later, of course, the police found her, and they tried to help her afterwards and stuff like that. But they found that she wasn't able to get language anymore. I don't know if she was like 10 or 12 or something like that, but she wasn't able to get like the grasp of language. Of course, this is not the only case. It has happened also with even people that have lived among animals. It's not common, but it has happened, and something happened in their brains that they just can't grasp language anymore. Like the last person, I think she was, I don't know if she hung out around like wolves or dogs, or I don't know, but they tried to help her, and it just didn't work at the end. She actually, in that case, she was able to kind of communicate, but something was off. Like something in her brain, like the time to make the speech connection and stuff like that, she just skipped that. And when they were trying to teach her, it was just too late. Because actually there were like these two theories. One, it was like you can always learn language and it's not a problem. And the other was like, is not possible. And they put this as an example. They give this as an example. So I don't know if we can always learn. It's interesting. But the other thing that you may have like an input about it is, I think we live in a society, as you said, that we standardize knowledge and education. But also you have these people that is like, I don't give a fuck about anything else. I like math or I like biology. Do you think that we should encourage like a very specialized education for people, like, because in a way, maybe by standardizing like education, we are missing really geniuses in each field. Like maybe this guy, he doesn't need to waste his time in like in chemistry, and he's a math genius. We should just go all for it with math. Like, what do you think?
It's a good question, actually. On one point, I understand why you have these kinds of curriculums in public school, to let children learn that many things. And maybe you did the same experience than me, like I forgot like 70% of what I learned. And when it comes back to what kind of needs human beings have, it's like, on that point, the most of us are really similar. Like, we need the tools that we can survive in society, and we have really this need to belong to somebody, and being in society, all these social skills also, to be loved and stuff like that. So that's really important, and I think it's also really important for members of our society to have like a horizon, also like that I can connect with somebody who is maybe not that much in mathematics, and when I'm really into mathematics, so that I also can share the table with them, or being like friends or whatever. But on the other hand, I think that's really important, and for that it's also like public school really important for me, like, because the mix between all different society parts and levels and stuff, that's really important. But on the other hand, I really think we should give kids and young adults the chance that they can really go into these fields which they are interested in.
Yeah.
And it's always, I think it's always difficult, because we have kind of a responsibility for them.
Yeah.
And how much we push, or how much we let them, and how much we push them into something which we think it should be like, oh, you are that good in playing the piano, you should be the next Mozart or something like that. And what happened with the kids? For example, when the father or mother is like telling, oh, you are so good in that. Now, is he or she, or is the kid exercising that hard because of the love to his mother and father, because this connection, or he's pushing really about this topic of piano playing? That's a really, because of that relationship is really important, really like having also this how you say that, like
level,
that's, I always try to talk with the kids on a certain level, in the same, that we have the same value, just you are a kid, and some things you are not responsible for it. I'm responsible for that. But on another level, it's really like I'm talking to another humankind, so to another person, and it's not less worthy. Maybe you can't read, but that makes me not to a better person just because I can read. It's a special thing. That's also a really beautiful thing about education, and being like being like a person who can guide somebody or who can be a companionship.
But the thing is that I think for me it's complicated because in a way our education system, at least until high school, I think almost in every country in the planet, they try to give you this universal knowledge, like a huge range of things. Then you enter in the university and it's like, you need to be specialized. So the minority of the time is specialization, and the majority is like general knowledge, which could be fine. But then you enter into the labor market and say like, no, we need experts.
Yeah.
We need actual experts. Like, well, if you need actual experts, why don't you, from high school or below high school, you let me be, go specific into a field that I know that I dominate. But on the other hand, I think humans, a long time ago, I was reading Harari books, like basically all the books, like Homo Deus and all those books, where he explains about the evolution of humans. And basically, our brain is not designed to specialization. Our brain is designed to a variety of tools that it help us survive. So, in a way, the specialization of society is going against how our brain actually works. So, like, I don't know if it's good or bad, but one thing is for sure, like, going into the labor market, like, they want a specialization. They want a specific person. I don't care if you know how to do 10 things. I want you to do one thing perfect. So, like, what we should do about it?
Yeah, that's the point that we want to, that's a difficult thing when society wants to recreate the skills which they already have. So, like, take in Switzerland. Switzerland, it's really like beautiful, and we are how you say that word? Sorry, we are in luxury, and we have good things in a lot of
delicious cheese.
That's another story. So what we are trying is to reconstruction exactly that. So we want to make the kids fit, that they fit into exactly this society. And now this point is coming up, like, we don't know what the future brings. And this next generation should be ready to create their own reality and their own society. And for that, we just have to let them grow, and we have to guide them that they are able to learn and to improve themselves. What's going on? Hey, I don't know. We will see. But they need the confidence that they can listen to themselves. They need the confidence to explore things, and that's maybe the point in our education system, that the good students are doing the hard work because they are the good students, and they are getting this kind of they are beloved because the good marks and stuff and whatever. But a big part also feels all the time stupid, because already a kid realized that I can't read, or I can't read that fast, and I have worse marks, and like I'm judged differently from adults, and that's the horrible part, because on that point we give different values to the kids.
Yes.
And I think we should just change that, but we should change that picture in our brain, because what we believe is a person who is successful in our society, that's a successful person.
Yeah.
But what's about life? Then we come into these questions. What's about life? What's important in life?
Yes.
And if I would ask 99% of 100, they will say me, it's about that you are safe, that you have enough food, that you have shelter, that you have friends, that you are beloved. But that are really basic things which we don't learn that in school. So there are like these basic things. So what's about then? So we really need the confidence. And when you ask parents, like, yeah, I had a lot of discussions also with parents, just to tell them, hey, you love your kid, so you also have to trust them. If you think that your kid is the best one, then you also have to trust him, because otherwise it's kind of fake, no? Yeah. That on one side you say, yeah, that's my kid, he's so special. That's normal, I think, that parent thinks like that. But then also like, yeah, trust him, and if he thinks that mathematics is the thing in his life, yeah, let him do. And next to his core things now, having enough money, shelter, and stuff like that, that I'm able to be open to learn new things, that I have a purpose, or that I can see something, yeah, this I want to do today, and that's important for me, and I do it because I feel good in that. Yes. I think that's what a lot of kids lose during school time. They think, oh, I don't fit. Yeah. So learning, that was something from school. Yeah. But now I'm an adult, I don't have to learn anymore. And like that, like the whole society gets stuck on a certain point, because you just have members of the society which are doing always the same thing again. And just try to fit and don't listen to themselves, what I need, what I want. And I think that's the kind of learning I try to improve myself. I try to understand myself, and that's what I'm doing what we talked before. It's like have this confrontation with my fears and trying out some new things, and give me some goals also, with the example with the 3 years in public schools, just to say, hey, I want to improve or increase.
And in a sense, I think you start to become a grade, right? Like the value that you have, it's regarding to the grade that you have. And there have been many studies where they try to mess up a little bit, and it's like, tell this guy that always get like a 6. I don't know what is your measure, but in Mexico it's from 0 to 10.
Okay.
So tell this guy that always gets a 6, tell him that he got a 9. And he started to act like a 9.
Yeah.
So then what is real? Like he started to say like, okay, so I'm smart. I got a 9, so I need to behave like a 9. And he started to get his own 9s. Yeah. His own real 9s. So it's like, I think it's weird, like because we become these grades, and we become these like achievements. And at the end of the day, like I think I can validate with my own experience that grades are not everything at all.
Yeah.
Like in my family, like I have family members that they were expelled from school, or they didn't finish a grade, and they went like to repeat the grade, and they have more success, like the standard society success, than I do. And I had like a very good grades and stuff like that. So grades are really, it's just a fucking number. It's just crazy. But inside of the academics, they give you so much advantage. Like you have like a 9 out of 10 or 9.6 or 9.8, and then you can apply for scholarships and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like I don't know if in Switzerland it's more like balanced, but in Mexico it's like maybe this guy got an 8, but you don't know his life. Maybe he needs to work every day, in the afternoon, help his father or her mother or whatever. So what, which has more value? This 8 when she actually or he actually could study only 2 hours, or this 9.5 with a guy that has all his life figured out, and parents that are supportive and stuff like that. I think it becomes really difficult to evaluate, but at the end, since it's a system, like you need to, like it's kind of standardized. So
absolutely.
Maybe a 9 that should worth an 8 wins against an 8 that should worth a 10, because at the end of the day, she or he had like a more, more struggle in life.
And at that point, a lot of studies also tell us that that it's from one classroom to another, grades are differently for the same actions. That's another story. But just to be honest, it's like that's the truth. Like better grades, open doors to achieve certain things in our society. That's for sure. I think we can't make that like in a way to say it differently, say everyone has the same chances. No, it's not. Absolutely not. But the sad thing on that point is like I met a lot of high grade students. They are completely slaves of what people thinking about them.
Yeah.
So what they did, they just were like these 9 or 10 grade students because they wanted to have this reaction of society on that point, of the teacher or whatever. And when they leave school, they are more slaves than, for example, a kiddo which was always frustrated because he had always like a 4 or a 3 or whatever. Even if it's also really horrible for them, for the others. But on a certain point, everybody is losing.
Yeah.
Everybody is losing, and that's a sad thing with these grades. And people who decide, for example, in Switzerland, we have to give grades every half year. We are not obligated to give grades with every test we did and stuff like that. But we have to do every half year in this report. Politics, which are deciding that, they think, we have to compare, no? We have to give like a feedback. Where are they standing? And that's the thing when I often do that, or compare it. If politics, I don't want to say something bad against politics. It's important to have politics and stuff. I don't want to say that on that point. But if we change it into in this healthcare stuff, if politics would decide with which tools heart chirurgs, how we say that, like heart doctors, which are fixing heart stuff, surgeons. If politics would decide with which tools they have to do these surgeries, I will never give my kid to these doctors.
Yeah,
and that's a little bit the same what's happening in educational system, that the actual experts, they have to do something which they know. It's wrong to compare kids in this age. It's wrong to compare it like this. There you have a 9. Even if all teachers know that my 9 in my classroom is maybe a 6 in the other classroom.
Exactly.
And also this story with this manipulation thing to give kids even I know there are 4 grade kids, I give them a 9. All the things, they are working out, and that's a strange thing. That's still something. I think there are not a lot of things, especially now in Switzerland, which can change a lot. There are small things. Just let this mark things away. This report in this way with these numbers.
Yeah.
Just let it away, and a lot of things would change, because I can't just give you a 9 now. I have to give you a feedback you are on the way to high school. I can say that because in high school they want that you have the competences to do that in mathematics and in language. That's what they say in high school or college. I can say to you, okay, you're on your way to college. That's what I can say. Or I can say, you have to improve a little bit if you want to. Or I can say, hey, you really improved your mathematics skills in the last half year. Maybe he's 10 years old and now he's able to count 1 + 1. It means he's kind of handicapped in comparing with others, but he really improved something. Yeah. So these kind of feedbacks. Yeah. But for that we have to switch our pictures of what is successful and what is worth it.
Yeah. I remember I had a friend, we were studying together different careers. He was studying veterinary, and he told me a story that one teacher came to the class and said okay, So the very, 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 very good students, you will get an 8. The perfect student, you will get an 8. The 9 is for me. I'm the only person in this class that can get a 9, and I'm the teacher. And the 10, which is the top, only God can take a 10. So it's like, dude, what can you do when you have a teacher like that? And then there are other students that got a teacher that is like super chill. So at the end, numbers is just so fucked up. But I think also like we get so fixated with the numbers. Like for me, like I had like 3 or 4 scholarships when I was studying, and in a way, and in the system in Mexico, in my university, like you really jump from not one number to another. Like for example, in my university, we don't have a 9. We go from 8 to 10, and 8 it doesn't qualify for scholarship. So I really had to have a 10. But at the end of the day, like I remember that like, dude, I'm just doing this for the scholarship. Like I'm not feeling that I'm learning more or doing more or something like that. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like I was explaining with like this relative that I have, he had a lot of what can be called in society success. You know, like he had money and he has like a business and stuff like that, which is great. But also, like as you mentioned, what we consider success, like you should have a lot of stuff or be happy or travel or feeling loved, or like what would you consider success for you?
I think it in my life now that changed all the time also.
Yeah.
So especially also there was a certain time in my life where I thought these kind of values are the same for everyone. Like for example, like this travel thing. Everyone should travel. But as I realized during my life now that it's changed for me, and it's something else for everybody.
Yeah.
And for me, it's really like that. That I can feel alive at the moment, and I can improve myself and find out things. So I was never thinking like when you asked me 10 years ago, then I would tell you, hey, yeah, you go to a bicycle trip, or now that I take my guitar and traveling around and busking in the Balkans,
yeah.
I would say, hey, no, I'm not interested in that, because now I'm in my music career, I'm touring, I have my record label and stuff like that, so I'm interested in that. To have goals and to know what's important for me. For example, now at the moment in my age now, a lot of my friends are parents now. They have kids between like babies until 10 or something like that. And sometimes they are kind of jealous to me. Like they say, hey, you are free, you're doing what you want.
Yeah.
And then I ask myself, like, aren't you doing what you love, man? You have a beautiful wife, you have beautiful kids. Isn't that what you were looking for all the time?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. So that's, both of them are stereotypes now, maybe, like really like the thing with the family and the guy who's traveling around. But on the point, it's like everyone has to know it for themselves. And also, that's a really interesting point at the moment for me in this period, which I am. It's like I'm able now to wonder much more, just to observe, just to say, oh, that's interesting what's happening with me now. Okay. Oh, that's interesting how I feel about my situation. I'm not that judgmental no more. And that makes also a huge difference, just to see, to see things.
Yeah, the things that in a way, it's kind of a game, right? Like you are in school, the game is get good grades. Then you leave school, the game is get money. You know, it's so weird. But at the end, like when you learn to kind of stop playing the game, and you start like not winning the game, but stop playing the game, and say like, okay, what I want, what I really want. Do I really want money? Like that's exactly what I want, or that's what society have been telling me to, or even this thought that I'm thinking, is it because I'm not making money, or is it because I really don't want money? Because that's the extra step, like you have one step that like, yeah, I'm going to renounce money, but the extra step is like, what I'm going to renounce money because I failed on it, or because I really don't want money. Yeah. Because it's it's complicated. And then I think at the end of the day, like when you really are happy about your day, like when you wake up in the morning, like dude, like I like my life, because there are people, I met people that is like, dude, I really want to end this shit, like really, like it's like, like, and you met these people that is like, and they don't have anything like really bad. It's just fucking depression. It's just like, like it's so bad. I was reading right now, like in the news, I didn't know that in the United States, the military nowadays lost more army guys, more soldiers from suicide than from being killed in action. That's fucked up. That's
a sad fact.
That means United States is like, killing, like, like it's so fucked up. Like, so the war is not the problem anymore. It's like what happened internally to those people, and people that clearly are not happy or fulfilled or realized. I think what you are doing is very cool, just traveling and stuff. I remember my first travel, I did like by motorcycle in Mexico. I did completely alone, like in very lonely places. And I don't know if it happened to you in like cycling, but sometimes you reach a point where it's like, I'm starting to know myself. Like I thought that I knew myself, but now I'm starting to see like I'm not like a super awesome guy. I'm just a guy, and there are some things that are fucking bad, really bad, and there are some things that are good and maybe cooler than I thought. And when you start to really know yourself, it's kind of like, dude, like you kind of get out of the matrix and like, okay, so this is the person that I actually am.
I think that's the point when it comes to travel. I think you don't need to travel to have this experience, but going out of your bubble, going out maybe of your country means your bubble maybe sometimes, or going out of your comfort zone. Yeah, but you just have yourself. So then you are able to see yourself a little bit better and to realize, that's how I'm working. And on that point, we were talking about money before. An interesting point was for me to understand, as I said, I'm from Switzerland, and we are able to
afford many things.
We have, like, I'm socialized and I grew up so differently than maybe same age. I have a good friend from, he's originally from Bosnia, and he had such another
conception.
Such another way how to grow up. Actually, he was coming with the age of 14 from Bosnia out of the war into Switzerland. So he had he had a lot of different experience. So what I can say now, at this point, I was denying a long time in my life. One of my most important things is that I have security. And security means where I'm coming from and where I went to everywhere is to having money. If I don't have money, I'm not secure. Yeah. Doors are closed. Most doors are closed, and I'm not secure. And so I really had to say myself, in this society where I live and where I belong to, the most important thing is to have money. Yeah. For me, it could be different for somebody else. I don't want to say it like, but for me, it's really like, I need money.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I need. There was the other thing that I was like in the last 2 years, was working as a teacher. I earned a lot of money, like more than I needed. So I was able to save some money. And at that point, like I reached a certain amount, and then I said to myself, okay, what I should do now with this? I don't need it. Should I? And then this voices started. Yeah, maybe you can have more savings like that. You are able to do that and that and that. That's also an interesting point. What happened? So I really could, and also because of that, I'm here now. I'm spending money at the moment because I decided for myself. On that certain amount, that's enough savings to have this security. I don't need more because I decided for myself the next 10 years or the next years, my goal isn't to buy a house or to buy an apartment. I don't need that. I decided that maybe it's the wrong decision in 5 years, I don't know. But at the moment it feels good. Yeah. So I can spend that money, and I decided, okay, I want to do this kind of projects because I feel it, like traveling around. Now for me, like exercising the guitar, playing these songs, basking just for my own and having all this experience, that's worth it now. But when I look back in my 20s, sometimes I was kind of a snobby Swiss citizen, which says, no, it's not about money. Money, I don't care. But at the moment, I really realized for myself, I know that love to other people and belongings and stuff, that's really important. But it changed a lot when I don't have money to buy some food. But that's something maybe for other people who are grown up in other countries, maybe that's absolutely clear. But for me, it was kind of impressive and also shocking to realize, wow, I was denying that. Most part of my life, I was like, I'm a hippie, I'm anti-capitalism and stuff like that. And in the end, I say no. I want to be a slave of what I think, what money should be for me. That it's not, or that I'm going into this spiral to have more and more and more. But I also have to convince, hey, money is really important.
I think money is like a tool, and you can decide how much, like how big you need that tool for what you're doing, and what actually are you going to do with it. Because at the end, like for people, if you're a teacher, I'm like as a journalist, like getting money represents spending time. And then you need to make an evaluation, okay, how much of my time I want to invest to get the money that I want to use for, and for what. And at the end of the day, like money is important. Because, you have, and we live in this society where you have like a lot of extremes, sadly, and you have some extreme that is like, money is not important, you should travel. Yeah, but with what money? What the fuck are you talking about, The important is health, yes, and money doesn't pay health. Well, sometimes. Sometimes you really, with a bunch of money, you can get a lot healthier, Or the important is to have food in the plate, money. A shelter, money. Like, at the end, money is a representation of the time that you spend to get like that money in a way, and the cleverness to get that money.
And I think it becomes difficult. Now, in my example, sometimes even I feel a little bit guilty because of that. I know I shouldn't, but I'm that gifted that I was always able to do things which I really loved, and I earned money with it. Not with all of it, especially like the music scene wasn't that successful on the level of money with my music. But now the example we said, working in school as a teacher and coach and stuff, I earned a lot of money with that, but I would do it anyways. Or maybe not like 80% or like this 35 or 40 hours a week, but on that point, I think I'm really gifted that I am able to do things which I love, and society pays me money for that. I think that's also not something which is common for a lot of people.
That's for sure. Like sometimes we take that for granted, and it's like like I'm working, but like, do you know that not many people do actually what they love?
Yeah.
You know, like I worked for many years in call centers. Nobody wants to fucking be a call worker, you know? Nobody wants that. Like, you know, like there are some people that are lucky enough that, like, you know, I'm doing what I love and I'm getting paid for it, and it's so cool. But like, definitely, well, probably depends in country by country, but at least in Mexico, like, it's not the majority.
I think I can only talk like for this civilization in Central Europe. For other, I don't want to, because that's really a different reality. I think for a lot of people. So I don't want to say it in that way. I just want to talk now for like this society where I live in or I grow up. You have to know how much money you need.
Yeah.
And then you have to find a way how you can get it the easiest way. Like, what you're doing now. For example, I was working a lot with musicians, obviously, and often I ask them, to figure out what we should do next on the career steps. Like, what kind of things we should do. I ask you, especially in the position as a manager, how much money you need a month.
Yeah.
Not how much money you want to have once, or you have to give me an amount, because if we have no goal on that level, it makes everything really difficult, because then just, for example, like a company asks me, hey, can you play like with your band on our company party? And they give a lot of money. Yeah. If this is only a request in this month, and they give me like this $2,000, and I need $2,000 a month, I will go for it maybe. But if I already have the $2,000 because of other requests and other shows, I can think about, okay, what kind of company you are? You are selling drugs, or I don't know, or you are selling war material. Yeah, that's not my values. I don't do that. Yeah. It's such easier when I know what
the threshold.
Exactly. Yeah, and that makes the difference. If you always think, if you have on that point, no goal, what do you really want? Yeah. Because we have also this picture of the Ferrari picture, like from a lot of musicians, like, I want to have the life as a musician, I want to earn the money with music. Yeah. And on that certain point, but that's another story, when we are looking back in our history, artists have been, most of them, outsiders. Yeah. And broke all the time. Yeah. And what especially in Central Europe happens, like artists, not that is something wrong, I don't judge it, but now they really want to have the situation to be like paid as somebody else in other companies and stuff and works, but they want to be musicians in that way, or artists. And that's something, we can try to do that and to figure out how it works. But that's something new. Yes. Something new. The stars in the last 70 years or the last 100 years, the stars of music and of all these show business things, it's one of a million. Yeah. Who is able to really act like this.
And also I think when you ask how much money, it's also the idea of how much money you want, because there is no you need to give something. So when you say how much money you want, it actually means how much time you want to spend. Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, like, the more money you want, the more you need to do. But anyway, like, I think we have passed the 1 hour threshold, so it's point to have two important questions. Number one, what do you think you have getting from traveling?
Hey, I had a confrontation with my fears. There's a lot of different fears, and that was a really healthy thing for me. And on this point also, I think I really was increasing my horizon, and I could change a lot of prison buildings which I'm in or which I was in. yeah, I was able to change also my attitude about a lot of things with traveling. It helped me a lot to go out of this bubble, out of these comfort zones, meeting other people, meeting other cultures, being courageous, trying something new. Yeah, I think that's the point, traveling here for me.
And number 2, if you could have a song that you want people to remember you with, which song would be?
Wow, such a mean question. I love so many songs, actually. That's really. But maybe I've just to take it at the moment. I think I'm really into love songs at the moment, and one really beautiful one. It's also what I said before. I'm more into wandering at the moment, observing. Just wow, it's interesting. And I really love the song of Celeste, she called, I think, runs like that, Celeste, with the song Strange. And in this song, it's isn't it strange how people can change?
Okay.
From strangers to friends, from friends into lovers, and strangers again.
That sounds cool. Well, okay. You know that you will find all, the song, you will find it in the description of this podcast. And thank you for listening. See you around. And thank you very much, brother.
Hey, thank you
for the conversation.
Thank you.
So, what do you think about today's episode? Don't forget to share your thoughts answering the polls and questions in the Spotify version of this podcast. Remember that in the description there are links to the interviewee song. You can also listen to the Spanish version of this podcast with different guests or listen to it into different platforms. If you want to watch videos about my travels to different countries, visit my YouTube channel. You can also support me in my Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, or Anchor page. In all of them, my username is Juan Around. In Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and in all social networks, you can also find me as Juan Around. All links are in the description of this episode and in the description of this podcast. Subscribe and share. See you around.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.